guys, welcome back to my channel. It is Toxxic Rhiannyr here, and we are going to do a how-to video. Yay! I've been receiving a ton of suggestions and requests for doing these types of videos, so today we are going to be covering how to set up at an event, how to customize the Vendetta event booths, and how to put clothing on hangers for display in Worlds. So if you're interested in any of those things, then make sure to keep on watching. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up, and if you have a suggestion or a request for a video, please leave that in the comment below. Okay, let's get started. I just got done creating this vendor booth. It will be for sale soon. It is the Vendetta event booth number 30. Alright, so what I've done here is I've created 3 different scenarios. Usually I try to give 2 to 3 examples inside the pack. You can either use my textured example and customize it for your store, or you can use the provided AO sample and you can customize your own textures. I have created, here's the AO version on this side. I'm not going to use that so much for this video. It just kind of shows which parts of the model that you can texture, which is the outside, the inside here, the glass portion right here can be textured differently, and if you cam inside of it, this face can be used for vendor picture or like a blogger photo or information. Really, you can kind of go a little crazy as far as customizing these event booths for yourself. I'm gonna, for the release of this particular booth, I'm gonna include this middle version here and then this version as well. This one I'm just gonna kind of leave as is. Obviously you could put demo box here, and there's shelves right here to hang your clothes off of or res your product on top of. Say if you have shoes or food or, you know, a animal or toy or something like that, you could use. These also can be removed if you unlink. Everything can be removed. So if you wanted to put your own shelves that you purchased from somewhere else, or if you have made your own setup, it's got enough space right there where you can utilize it to display your product. So on this side, basically what I did is I just smashed these shelves down a little bit to kind of create like a flat surface. Like if you edited link parts, you can make those as big or as small as you would like. So what my thought here was to create hanger clothing on a hanger and just res them right here, and then that would be the display vendor that your customers can click on to purchase the item. And then in here, you know, you can put your vendor ad, which is just a drag and drop. You just cam inside and then right click, select face, and it's on its own face. So I just threw my Vendetta logo in there for a sample, and then this picture of my tank and my shorts. It's just a regular picture. I can pop this open for you real quick. Just a regular 1024 by 1024 snapshot of my ad, and I just slapped it in there. And I did have to adjust the width on it a little bit because of the way I UV mapped it, but if you adjust this left and right, you can kind of get the correct aspect ratio for the booth. So that's that. So if you can just kind of use your imagination, say for instance we were setting up for an event and you see they've got all the little slots available for you to res your booth into. All of my booths are modify, so let me pull this out so I can just show you. Most of the time I do leave these outside faces there just in case. It really depends on what kind of container or the display around that they have given you. Some places it would be better if the sides were not there. And that's actually an easy fix. You can just come in here and set that to 100, and then that would delete it. Obviously this one maybe not the best example because the way it's grouped together, but most of my other boosts you can do that and get rid of that outside layer if you had to. But for this one in particular, gotta leave it there, and I think it should be okay. So I built it to, you know, be resed inside of something, and most of the events that you go to, they've give you like a little alcove that you can res a wall into, or an actual booth, whatever kind of setup that you've created for yourself. So we're just gonna kind of drop that back in there. Say for instance you didn't want these, and I'm just going to show you how you can resize it. You can make this as tall or as wide as you want, so depending on the event booth size. I'm just going to res this out a little and give me another copy here. So say you have like a more of a wider type of setup, the booths can be resized to whatever size alcove that you have, about like that. So I try to make them as customizable as possible, so it's easy for you to have a quick setup and it's not so confusing. If you know the basic transform tools for Second Life, you should be a-okay with my booths. Now some of my earlier booths are not so user friendly because I was learning and I wasn't really sure. I was just kind of testing the water, so I made some more kind of difficult to use booths that they would be harder to modify. So just make sure whenever you're looking at my stuff that you pay attention to the description of the booth, because my earlier ones, the frames and the shelves don't actually come off. You can't modify it. It's got baked lighting, baked in shadows, so you aren't able to just remove it that easy. So I do plan on maybe going in and modifying those at some time and trying to send some kind of an update out, but as of right now they're just sold as is. So please pay attention to the description and make sure that you can take the frame and the shelves off of the display. I think pretty much now from here on out I've got the hang of what people are needing. So in the future, unless it's got totally baked lighting and I feel like the shadows have to be, you know, all linked into one, then, you know, it should be pretty modular and you should be able to use it for all different kind of circumstances. Okay, so let me just delete this. So let's pretend we're at our event. We're at our ABC event. Walking like a noob, walking like a noob. I'm going to be using this sample for this video. So what I want to do is I want to put my tank top, I'm going to use a tank top as the example. I want to put it on hangers and I want to display the hangers with the tank top on these little boards that I've rested out. So I'm going to go ahead and just create a cube. I'm going to resize the cube. I think fitting maybe 3 on here would be okay. So of course you're going to need to know at least your basic transform tools in order to do this. Now obviously we do have to use a little bit of imagination because I'm not actually going to put hooks on these bars. I mean, you can for sure, you customize it however you want, but for the video tutorial example purposes I'm not going to go that far into it. So let me just kind of resize this again. And I'm pressing shift to duplicate the prim. And I just am trying to get an idea on size. of course, like if I needed these bars to be wider or smaller, edit linked parts, and you can do that as so. Okay, so I think that this looks okay, being just kind of trying to eyeball it and get it like right in the middle. So I'm gonna link these 3 prims together. So for this kind of setup, you only want the front faces of these prims to be showing. The side faces and the back faces, you want them to be transparent. So in order to do that, I'm just going to click select face here, and you'll notice that it's got the little circle target dealing in the middle. I want to keep the front faces active and make the rest of the faces transparent. So I'm going to press shift, and then I'm going to click the front faces so it takes the little target icon away. So right now it deselected the front faces of these prims and left all the rest of the faces active. So all I need to do is go in here and press 100 for transparency. You can click, you know, the next tab, or you can hit tab, or you can just close out. And as you can see, when I cam around, it's made all of the other faces that I don't want to see transparent. So while I'm in this menu, I'm going to go ahead and just click and reactivate these front faces, and I'm going to set them to full bright. You want to put full bright on your vendors so people are able to see it. If you don't press full bright, it can be very hard to see each product and the true color of each product, and maybe in a very dark setting. Also, I've already done this whole procedure prior, and I found that with a really dark base like this event booth is, it is really hard to see if you don't use full bright. The colors that I did choose for this tank top are more of a, they're more dark, they're not so bright. So anything that I can do to kind of make the product pop out and catch someone's attention, that's exactly what you're gonna want to do. Okay, so from here, I'm just gonna select my 3 boards, and I'm gonna duplicate them all the way up on each bar. So pressing shift and dragging up, again shift and dragging up. I think you can just keep holding it. Let's see. Yeah, just hold down shift and drag up. You don't have to press it every single time. So about like that is how I will want my display to be. So as far as customizing your booth, you could res your logo up here. You could res your logo down here. You could have your logo inside of this display. You could res your logo, you know, anywhere you want. It doesn't matter. You have to be completely creative, and just put all your items where you think it's easily understandable for the customer. So if this was a live vendor for me, I would probably put my logo up here. And then maybe down here I would put a demo button or a fat pack button. I maybe would even make these just a little bit smaller, and then be able to put a demo and a fat pack button down here, because these individual pieces will be vendors, so they can order their singles here. But a lot of people do like fat packing, so fat pack and demo would probably come down here for me. Unless my vendor ad had my logo actually on it and I used this for my vendor, then maybe I would utilize the space on the top and the bottom for a fat pack option and for a demo option. Just leave my logo on the actual picture. So there is a bunch of different ways that you can do this. I trust that you will find whatever method is comfortable for you. This is just an example, and you don't have to do it my way. I'm just kind of showing you how the process goes if I was going to use this method of vendoring. Okay, so from here I need to take pictures of my tank top, And this is how I do this. Of course, there's probably a million different ways to do this. I've already resed my tank top on the floor. So I prefer to take pictures on a white background. I don't use green screen. I don't use blue screen. I never have. I've always done so much better if I can just have my object res on a white background. So basically, res your product on the floor. Try to maneuver your camera. This also goes back to being like knowing the basic transform tools in Second Life and also camming tools in Second Life. I know that takes a really, really long time to get it down. I know it did for me, but now I'm like a master cammer. I can cam from right here where I am all the way to the floor without moving anything. So, and I know that takes a lot of time, but what you're wanting is you're wanting your subject to be about in the middle of your screen. And if you can imagine how it would look hanging on the hanger, you know, that's how you would adjust your camera going up and down like this. So I think about there looks okay to me. Has enough white space around it. And the only thing I'm going to change is I think I'm going to change my wind light to be more the true color of the item. Some of my wind lights, as you can see, completely change the color of the item, and I don't want that. I think this one is actually okay. That's about the true color of the tank top. So in this case, this tank top has already been HUDed. So I'm just going to wear the texture HUD for it so I can change the colors easily. What is this called? Okay, Lily Tanky. So I'm going to go ahead and just add the texture HUD to my screen. Now, totally, this is pain in the ass. Like, switching the textures. So unless you HUD your fat pack, which I would assume most people do these days. Maybe back in 2012, we weren't all HUDing our fat packs. We were actually just dropping five sizes and then making, oh man, it was a nightmare. Don't do it that way. I would actually recommend that at least you HUD your fat pack depending on how many colors are going to be included in it. So in this case, everything is just example purposes. You don't exactly have to do it this way, but this is the way that this tank top has been prepared. It's already been HUDed. I'm actually going to sell it with a HUD, and I don't sell stuff separate anymore, which that actually might change in the future. I'm not sure. I haven't really decided how I'm going to be selling product for Alter Ego when I reopen it. I am reopening it, by the way. Yay, confetti. So what I need to do right now is I just need to take a picture of every single color of the tank top on the floor. So this is where I'm saying is if you've already got it fat packed, this is so much easier than opening your inventory and just sitting there dragging textures over, because you could accidentally texture your background or whatever else is resed here, and it's just such a pain in the ass. So this way definitely is easier. So I'm just going to click on the first color and go ahead and let that load. Let's see if I can figure out. No. Okay, so it looks like this is Namineko's Windlight Part 3 Screen 4. If you don't have those wind lights, it's absolutely okay. The wind light that I suggest you using, that I know every single viewer has, and it is true color to everything around you, and it doesn't give any god-awful like linden shadows, is going to be CALWL. If you use that, everything will be true color. So you don't have to worry about hunting for or trying to decide what is a true wind light color. Okay, so we have our first color here. So I'm going to go down and I'm going to find my little camera, and that looks good. So I'm going to go ahead and save this. Again, I've already done this. So let's open. I'm going to just do a new folder so we can keep it organized. I'm going to title this Photos, and go ahead and click that to empty. And I'm just going to press save. I don't really care too much about the name of it at this point. Okay, so I've got all of my snapshots are going to be saving right here. So I'm going to just go through this a little quicker for the sake of video. So from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to close that out for a second. I need to make this tank top completely black silhouette and keep the white background. What? This is a trick that I learned a long time ago. I know I've showed it before on this channel. I'm going to change the wind light. I'm going to come down here, and I do believe this is a default wind light. I think it's on the regular SecondLife viewer, and for sure it's on Firestorm just by default. I'm going to come down here to ambient dark and give that a click. So as you notice, everything turned black. So obviously I know where my background prim and floor prim are, so I'm just going to right click and do edit, and I'm just going to turn on full bright. So that made the background completely white. I'm going to do the same thing for the floor. I just click the floor down here and set it to full bright. So basically, in order to make your object black, it needs to not be set on full bright. So see here, if I come in here and I click that, it's going to give me the true color of the item, and that's not what I want for this shot. I want my item to be completely black silhouette and the background to be completely white. And I'm just going to take another picture. Notice I'm not moving my camera. All I want is that right there. I have to have it in the exact same spot. Also, while you're taking your pictures, do not move your camera, and you will screw up. I have screwed up 1,000 times. The cat has landed on my desk, or a kid has come in and started talking to me, and I got all frazzled or whatever, and my camera moved. The whole point of doing taking the pictures this way is that you keep the camera completely still, and you take all of your color pictures back to back to back to back. Everything has to completely line up, and you'll see why in just a minute. So when I have this part taken care of, the background is white, the subject is black, I'm going to go ahead and just click save. So let's pop over to Photoshop, and that's what our end product is going to look like. So here are all of our textures, including my black and white texture here. So I'm just going to slide this over to my other screen, and I'm going to drag the first picture. I just clicked here and I dragged this picture into Photoshop. So from here, now that it's loaded, I'm just going to, drag and drop right on top. So you've got your bounding box. You can press enter, and then the next picture shows up. So I'm just going to continue pressing enter and letting all of the pictures load in, one right on top of the other. So as you can see, since my camera didn't move, everything is lining up perfectly, and that's the reason why you have to be really careful and not move your camera left, right, front, center, whatever. Just leave it alone and change your colors and take your pictures. So I'm going to do this quicker, okay, till it loads my very last one. So basically what I'm going to do from here is that I want to erase the white part of this picture. The easiest way to do that is to come up here to the magic wand tool. I'm going to give that a click, and I'm going to click all of the space that has white. Okay, from here, as you can see, when I dragged and dropped everything in here, it made it a smart object. We actually need to take that away to be able to edit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the very first layer, scroll down to the layer above the background, press shift, hold shift, and then click so it selects everything. I'm going to right click over here in a gray area, and I'm just going to do rasterize layer. That took the smart object function off of everything. And then down here, in order for you to be able to edit this first, layer, you're going to need to double click and just press OK to take the lock off of it. So right now everything is completely ready to be customized. Doesn't have any kind of box or bounding box that would stop you from customizing the layer. So from here, I'm just going to click on every single layer and press delete, and it will take away the gray that was around for my background and leave only the tank top on top of a transparent background. So I'm gonna press delete on the first one and just do the same all the way down the line. Click the layer, press delete, click the layer, press delete, all the way down. Okay, so I've clicked everything, and as you can see, it's got the alpha texture behind, and that's exactly what I wanted to see. So in order to take the little dancing ants away, I'm going to come up here to the marquee tool. Doesn't matter what shape it's on, and I'm just going to click the screen and they go bye-bye. So we don't need the black version of the tank top anymore, so I'm going to go ahead and just delete that off completely. And I'm going to adjust the size of my document here. I just went to the crop tool, and I just kind of want to bring that in just a little bit to where we're only dealing with this much space, and I'm going to press enter. Okay, so if you start hiding layers, you can see that everything has been perfectly cut out. Or is it so perfect? It's actually not very perfect. So this is personal preference. You definitely don't have to do this, but just know that if I walk by your booth at an event, I'm hardcore judging you. But something is happening here that we actually can't see just by looking at this picture. It looks pretty perfect, right? It's kind of not so perfect. So by doing that method with the white screen and the deleting around it, it does leave a very, very slight white halo around, like an outline around your image. Just very slight. It's literally 1 pixel of a white halo around the object, and that drives me absolutely crazy when I go to an event and I see people that didn't at least cut that off. So I'm gonna actually show you how to do that. It is kind of tedious, but it's just worth it. Okay, it's just worth it. Bear with me. So what I'm gonna do is I need to select the object, and then how to explain this. I want to invert the little dancing ants in by 1 pixel, and then I'm going to cut that 1 pixel outline off of the shirt. Okay, I know you're probably like, you're going to what? So just watch real quick here. I've already loaded this stuff in, so let me show you what it did. And we're going to fix this. Oh, you see it? Oh, drives me nuts. Drives me nuts. Just that very, very, very thin line. It's literally 1 pixel of the white background that was behind my object when I was taking a picture of it. So also too, do you see how it's kind of jagged? Sometimes you can get away with just doing this and you won't have to do this next step, but I'm going to show you the next step anyways. Just in case it ever happens to you, you know how to fix it. Sometimes you can click on your front face and then set this to 1 and it goes away. I mean, for the most part, it did go away for the most part, but it still bothers me that that's there. I know. Because like from this far out, you can see it. You can see a white line around that. It drives me nuts. Okay, so we're going to fix that. Also, this like white line on the top and bottom, if that bothers you, which guess what, it does bother me. You can kind of set that to like 9 and 9, and then that'll go away on the top and bottom. If you get it on your left and right, then you can adjust the horizontal as well, just by 1 pixel, and it takes that away. Okay. Oh, that drives me nuts, I'm telling you. All right, so let's just fix that one piece. We're gonna take this away. So I'm gonna hold down Control, and I'm going to actually click the layer icon, and you see the dancing ants are there, okay? We're going to go up to Select, and then Modify and Contract. That's going to move those dancing ants inward, like this away, like inward into the subject, okay? I only want to move it 1 pixel, because that's the white halo, is the 1 pixel around your object, okay? So we're just going to set that to 1 and press OK. It doesn't look like it did anything, but trust me, it did. It moved in all the way around the object 1 pixel. So now from here, I'm just going to come down to the layer mask, and then I'm going to click it. It also looks like it didn't do anything, but trust me, it did. As you can see, you've got your little white box here, or your white and black box that shows that the layer mask is active. So I'm going to go ahead and right click and just do Apply Layer Mask. Okay, so now this first texture here has the exact size that I want. So I'm going to hold down Control again, and I'm going to click it to bring the ants back. And then for the rest of the items here, I'm just going to go ahead and click the mask. And I'm going to do it again. All the way down the row. And that is cutting, excuse me, the shape that I want to get rid of that white halo all the way around the object. I know, I can almost tell you who's gonna be watching this and thinking you're a fucking idiot. You're crazy. You're way too anal about this stuff. Oh my god, I don't have time for this. And that's fine. Alright, so done with that, right? Okay. Next, we need to get a picture of a hanger, and I already have some available. Voila! So I went somewhere on the internet and downloaded a vector of hangers, and you can do the same thing too. I'm also thinking about making like just a pack of hangers that creators can use and throwing it up for free download on my website. So you might actually get these from me. I can just go in and customize them just a little bit, and should be okay to use for you guys. So I'm just gonna pick this one down here at the bottom. That's okay for me. This is Illustrator, so I'm just gonna Control X out of that, and come back to my document. I'm going to go to the top of it, and I'm just going to do image paste, and I am going to keep it a smart object. People always ask me why I do smart objects, and I don't know. I really think it's just the bounding box. It also, for vectors, it tends to keep everything like super clean lines, and just, I don't know. Those are my only excuses for using it. The bounding box, I don't know, to me it's like you can just center it easier. I have no smart excuse for it, so I just use it. When I'm resizing here, I'm making sure I hold down Shift so it keeps the aspect ratio. I don't want to move it like this and make it all like wonky and stuff. So if you hold down Shift, you can actually resize it and it doesn't go some weird god-awful shape. So I'm just kind of eyeballing this and placing it where I think it would naturally sit, sort of. Use your imagination. We are in Second Life. Alright, so for the hanger, we're just going to kind of move this up. And what we want to do, I'm going to leave the hanger at the top of the layer queue over here. I want a little piece of my tank top to like go in front of it to actually make it look like it's like hanging on the hanger. So I'm going to move this up just a little bit, and holding down Control and clicking the layer. I'm going to delete this first part right here of the hanger so it looks like the strap is going over the side. Here we go. We're just going to delete that just like that. Perfect. And we're going to delete it just like that. Perfect. And right here too. And right here too. So that's perfect. It looks like the strap is actually going over the hanger. Nice. Okay, so there is a little something funky just going on with this texture of a hanger, and it may or may not be like that for you. So, especially if I make these hangers, I'll fix all of this and edit it to make sure that you don't have to do this step. But I'm just going to fill in those lines with a black stroke. And I think a 1 is perfectly fine. So I'm going to just compress that down. So there we go. We've got our hanger ready to go. So also for like customizing and stuff, I'm just going to put my alter ego logo on the hanger just to show you guys kind of like an example of what people do to kind of make the hanger personalized to their store. So that gives enough spot for a little logo right there. Looking good, looking good. We're almost done. We just need to add a little shadow, a drop shadow to the hanger into the tank tops, and then we can go ahead and load these in the SecondLife. So in order to do that, I'm just going to come up here to the blending options, and I'm going to click on drop shadow. I'm not a fan of really huge thick shadows. I want them to just kind of be light and just delicate, because I feel like, I don't know, it can really ruin your display if you go too heavy on the shadows. So I'm going to set the shadow to 90 degrees so it's like dropped completely like downwards. I don't really want it to be off to the side. I'm just imagining like if there was a light shining on my display, the shadow would be like underneath the clothes. So that's what I'm trying to visually achieve here. I'm gonna bring the distance down just a little bit to like 7 is fine for me. And then the size, I just kind of want it to be a little bit fuzzy, so I brought it to 6. We're gonna leave this at 50 on the opacity. So that looks good to me. That's just for the hanger itself. So I want to apply that layer style to all of the tank tops here at the bottom. So what I went ahead and did is I just right clicked and I did copy layer style, and I'm going to click my tank tops, hold down shift, go all the way down to the bottom, and then click, make sure they're all selected, and then do right click, paste layer style. So as you can see, it applied that layer style to every single tank top. It did open, like I don't know why it opens the menu like that, but I don't really need them all to be open. So while they're all selected, I'm just going to press this little arrow and it picks the menu up and collapses everything all nice. Okay, so that's it. That's basically what we need to do. I'm actually going to crop this just a little bit more. Crop down. We just need the picture of the tank top and the hanger. So from here, as you can see, everything's all doubled up, and that drop shadow is really thick. So I clicked the second layer. I'm going to hold down shift and click all of them, and then I'm going to do right click, hide this layer. This only shows up if you're right clicking the eyeball icons right here. Hide this layer. So that hid everything that I had selected, and only the first tank top is showing with the hanger. So that's the picture that we're going to need to save. So I'm gonna name this textured, and I'm actually just gonna do sample and then a dash. And instead of like, depends on how you do this. Like if you want to name it your colors, you can do so. I'm actually just gonna use numbers because I've got to kind of hurry up. So I'm going to go through and save each one, probably fast forward through this so you guys, it's not so brutal. So after I have them all loaded or all saved up, I'm going to load them into SecondLife. In order to do a bulk upload, you would go to build, upload, and then bulk upload. It's going to charge you 10 lindens per picture. So I'm actually just going to select all of my hanger pictures here and then press open and let them all open in game. So while these are opening, I invite you guys to subscribe to my channel. I try really hard to at least do live streams on this channel for creator content and to watch me design custom artwork for stores. And I have a bunch of how-to videos that are older on the channel that can help you with scripting HUDs and just a bunch of different creator tools. If you have a suggestion on something that you would like for me to show you guys how to do, you can always send me a note card in World or leave me a comment down below on this video. I read all of my comments and I try to respond to all of them, so if you have questions, you can leave them down there as well. Okay, so we have all of the textures are loaded, and I definitely did not need 25 of them, but you get the idea of what I was trying to do. So from here, you're just going to click on your vendor, press the select face, click on the front of the face, and then you can just drag and drop each texture. If you're not super comfortable with doing it that way, you can always just actually select the texture and drag and drop into the square. I know for like newer people that's probably easier, but since I've been here for ages, I'm just gonna drag and drop like this so you guys can see. Oh my god, what did I do? Again, this was just sample purposes. You can always customize this however it's gonna fit your store best or the product best. If something needs to be resized bigger or smaller, by all means. Oh my god. So that little, like, you see how it's just jagged on my screen drives me freaking crazy. We're gonna go back through and I'm just gonna select all the front faces and I'm gonna change the transparency on the front face to 1. And that takes that away. You see how clean that is? Next time you go to an event, look at people's think I'm lying, look at their prims. They'll have that jagged line. I'm just like, oh my god, set them to 1% transparency. You're driving me crazy. So that's it, guys. That's how you do it. Of course, like, you know, if this was me, I would fix this little white spot up here because it drives me crazy. It kind of looks like it's a highlight. It's not, but we'll just say it's a highlight for for this sake, right? So let me come in here, and if this was like a true vendor for a event, there's my vendor ad. Oh my goodness, I mean, that's kind of cute like that. It would be something different, but it's definitely not like that on purpose. Let's adjust this to be here, and then I would probably bring that out just like so. So there you have it, guys. That's how you put clothing on hangers for SecondLife. And maybe I'll do a couple more examples. Like, I was going to do the shorts as well, and I was like, oh my goodness, the shorts were a little bit harder. So some items will be kind of difficult to do this method. Just know that right out the bat. But it does look really cute when you go to events, and I don't know, it's just something about it to me is like, it's aesthetically pleasing. Like, it's nice for me to just stand there and look at my goodness, hang on one second. It's really nice for me to just to look at a display and then look at all the colors that they made. Sometimes it's hard to tell when you fat pack or you HUD things. Sometimes it's hard to tell, you know, what colors are provided, yada yada yada. So let's come back here. I just needed to grab my fucking hey, where am I? I just needed to grab my logo so I could put it up here for you guys, just to kind of show you like a finished product type of deal. Whee. Really, I didn't even name it. That's why I couldn't find it. It's not even named alter ego mesh logo or anything. It's just blah 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 from Maya. Just kind of resize that in there. Looks really cute. I think that this event booth will be a hit and will be something that'll be easily modifiable for creators across the board, whether you're super advanced and you want to go ahead and change the texture, or if you like it as is. It really does give you a ton of options on how you can display your product. Even if you didn't want to sell your items separately like I am showing here, I think it would still be a really great option for like a fat packed product. And then still down here it gives me enough room to where if I wanted to put a demo button I can do so. So that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it helps somebody out, and if I talked too fast in the video, I'm really sorry. You can always go back and kind of slow the video down and then do things step by step. But yeah, thanks for watching my video. Hope it helped you guys, and I will see you on the next one. Subscribe. Bye.